Hello everyone, and welcome to The Bold Fans channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The bold and the beautiful spoilers suggest that Carter Walton's great mistake may cost him in more ways than one. Carter's marriage to Daphne Rose Walton and relationship with Ridge Forrester are at jeopardy, but so is his work. Ridge expressed gratitude to Carter in the August 24th episode for being there for Steffy Forrester Finnegan when she needed him. Of course, Ridge is unaware that Carter provided much more than a shoulder to cry on. During that conversation, Ridge also discussed more difficult times in his relationship with Carter. That sparked some discussion concerning the Forrester takeover and Carter's earlier relationship with Hope Logan Spencer. Ridge has suddenly decided to behave as if he cared about Hope again, so he seemed to be worried that Carter was with his stepdaughter. This is clearly BNB's approach of adding to Carter's guilt and laying the groundwork for Ridge to discover Carter had a one-night stand with Steffy. Although Steffy has resolved to keep the news under wraps, we all know the truth will eventually come out. Ridge may react, forcing Carter to find for another job. It wouldn't be shocking if Ridge was angry enough to terminate Carter and have him hauled out of the building. Steffy will undoubtedly protect Carter when everything goes apart, because it takes two to tango. They were both inebriated and seeking consolation from each other that night, therefore this is both Steffy's and Carter's fault. Ridge may still hold Carter responsible after the big disclosure, though. This could lead to Ridge dismissing Carter from both his life and the company. Ridge may insist on removing Carter from his position as COO and refuse to accept his legal counsel. If Carter betrays their trust and leaves Ridge feeling betrayed, it might have serious ramifications. Loyalty has always been a fragile currency in the world of Forrester Creations, traded carefully among family members and trusted executives who understand that a single misstep can derail years of carefully cultivated relationships. Recent episodes of The Bold and the Beautiful have put that currency under extreme scrutiny, particularly in the convoluted relationship between Ridge Forrester, his daughter Steffy Forrester Finnegan, and Carter Walton, who has long served as both legal advice and confidant. What began as mutual assistance amid personal problems has evolved into a secret that threatens to destroy the carefully kept serenity at the design house. Spoilers and recent plot events strongly suggest that when Ridge discovers the complete truth about Carter's intimate contact with Steffy, the consequences may include Carter's swift removal from the company and the permanent severance of their emotional tie. The roots of this potential explosion were sown during a period of extreme emotional vulnerability for both Steffy and Carter. Steffy returned from a terrible vacation to Monaco, still suffering from the arrival of Sheila Carter, the woman who has repeatedly threatened her family. Sheila's presence on the same airplane as Finnegan damaged the delicate trust Steffy had managed to repair in her marriage. She returned to Los Angeles fatigued, angry, and yearning for someone who would simply listen without judgment. Carter was also healing his own wounds. His marriage to Daphne Rose had ended when she realized she couldn't give him the family he desired. Carter, alone with his rings in his pocket and his future plans ruined, resorted to the old comfort of the Forrester Creations offices and a bottle. Their paths collided at precisely the wrong time. Both had drunk. Both felt abandoned by the individuals they relied on the most. What began as a chat about loss and betrayal evolved into something more visceral. When the booze wore off the next morning, Steffy and Carter awoke on the couch in the CEO's office, the entire weight of their actions crushing down on them. They deceived their marriages. They had crossed a line that could not be uncrossed. Most dangerously, they had done it in the home of a man who considered Carter one of his closest friends and Steffy his jealously protected daughter. In the days that followed, the two worked to limit the damage. Steffy initially wanted to open clean to Finn. The shame was already affecting her ability to face her husband in the eyes. However, Carter strongly opposed confession. He argued that admitting the truth would jeopardize not just his own tenuous reconciliation with Daphne, but also Steffy's marriage and the stability of her children. He warned that Ridge would never forgive him. The consequences, he insisted, would be disastrous for all involved. Steffy eventually agreed to hide the information, at least for the time being. The choice provided momentary comfort, but it also added a new layer of strain whenever they were compelled to interact in professional situations. Ridge, of course, remained totally clueless. In one particularly tense recent episode, he walked into a heated dispute between Steffy and Carter. He wanted answers, thinking something bigger was going on. The two tried to come up with a believable explanation, portraying their argument as a debate over how Steffy should address her marital difficulties and Carter's. Ridge accepted the cover story and even thanked Carter for being there for Steffy during her time of need. He thought on prior issues, such as the infamous Forrester coup and Carter's earlier relationship with Hope Logan, but finally persuaded Carter that those difficulties were behind him. The event was full with dramatic irony. Viewers understood the truth, but Ridge did not, and Ridge's friendly voice just added to the sense of approaching doom. That feeling will very probably fade once the secret is out. Ridge has always followed a rigorous, albeit occasionally selective, moral code when it comes to the ladies in his family. He has already forgiven business betrayals, including an attempted firm takeover that led to Carter's firing before later bringing him back in. However, a romantic or sexual betrayal involving his daughter falls into a very separate category. Carter, to Ridge, was more than just an employee or a buddy. He was someone who had been permitted access to the Forrester family's inner circle. Using that access to become sexual with Steffy while both were married to other individuals would constitute a serious personal violation. The speculative scenario outlined in previous leaks envisions Ridge's reaction occurring in stages. First, there would be the shock of finding. Whether the truth is revealed through a thoughtless slip, a confession under duress, or someone else's involvement, Ridge's initial reaction is likely to be incredulity, followed by wrath. He has already shown an inclination to blame Finn for not protecting Steffy from Sheila's disarray. Learning that Carter, the man he trusted to support his daughter, had instead taken advantage of her fragility would refocus his rage with considerably greater fervor. Ridge may address Carter personally at first, requesting a detailed account of what transpired and why. The conversation would be nasty. Carter would most certainly try to frame the interaction as a shared error caused by mutual pain, but Ridge is unlikely to accept any concessions. In his opinion, Carter should have known better. He should have walked away. Professional ramifications would quickly follow. Ridge has the ability to remove Carter from his job as COO and terminate any remaining legal consultancy relationships. He's done it before, under far less personal circumstances. This time, the dismissal would have an added sense of finality. Ridge may declare Carter no longer welcome in the building, thereby removing him from Forrester Creations' physical and emotional space. The judgment would not be strictly punitive. Ridge has always felt that the company's leadership must convey moral coherence, no matter how imperfect it is in actuality. Allowing a man who slept with the CEO's daughter to retain a senior position would, in Ridge's opinion, undermine the entire organization. The personal consequences would be equally serious. Ridge and Carter's friendship has withstood numerous challenges, including a coup plan and opposing sexual interests. A night with Steffy would most likely be one too many tests. Ridge may block Carter out of his life completely, refusing to communicate and asking family members to do the same. Carter's loss would be heartbreaking on several levels. Beyond the professional setback and reputational damage, he would lose one of the few steady relationships he has been able to retain in recent years. The news would hinder his attempts to restore his relationship with Daphne. Even if she never learns the complete story, knowing Carter maintained such a huge secret during their reunion phase might shatter any remaining trust. Steffy's situation in the aftermath would be especially difficult. She had already grappled with her guilt over the experience and the decision to keep it private. Ridge will have to deal with her father's displeasure and, potentially, fury once she knows the truth. Ridge has a lengthy history of idealizing Steffy and shielding her from the repercussions of her own actions. Discovering that she was involved in the breach of Finn and the family's trust may compel him to confront a more complex version of his daughter. At the same time, Steffy may find herself defending Carter or at least attempting to interpret the error, causing additional tension with Ridge. Her marriage to Finn, which was already stressed due to the Sheila problem, will undergo its most significant challenge yet. Finn has already demonstrated forgiveness, but knowing that his wife slept with one of the family's closest allies while both were in distress would test his patience to the breaking point. Forrester Creations would face broader ramifications as a result of the central battle. Carter has been more than just a lawyer and executive. He has served as a liaison between various groups within the corporation and the wider family. His abrupt departure would create a power vacuum, forcing Ridge and Steffy to redistribute responsibilities at a time when the company is already facing creative and competitive hurdles. Hope Logan's continued presence in the wider tale, combined with the persistent personal and professional goals of younger characters like as RJ, Will, and Elektra, would exacerbate the instability. The revelation of the secret might also reignite old resentments regarding previous power battles, including the prior coup attempt, providing additional ammo to those who opposed Carter. Viewers familiar with the show's history will recognize the trend. The Bold and the Beautiful has always specialized in situations in which private moments of weakness escalate into public crises that transform entire family systems. The present storyline with Steffy and Carter fits well into that tradition. The writers have meticulously piled the remorse, near misses, and Ridge's naive appreciation so that the climactic reveal has maximum emotional impact. Whether the fire occurs immediately upon discovery or after a period of tense coexistence, the path becomes clear. Ridge's feelings of betrayal will necessitate a firm response, and eliminating Carter from both the company and his personal life is the most direct method to regain control. Of course, soap operas rarely take the most obvious way. Steffy and Carter may be able to keep the secret for longer than expected, or another character may intervene in such a way that Ridge's anger is softened. Daphne's reappearance or a fresh problem involving Sheila may temporarily distract from the underlying tension. However, the underlying dramatic logic points to confrontation. Ridge has already been prepared by a recent chat in which he thanked Carter for his support of Steffy. When he realizes what the support entailed, his appreciation will become dark. The man who once regarded Carter his best friend may eventually regard him as an adversary who exploited his daughter's lowest point. Finally, Carter's impending termination is about more than just his employment position or office politics. It's about Ridge's limits with the people he cares about, and the cost of violating them. Carter and Steffy's night together was motivated by loneliness and poor judgment, but the consequences will be measured in broken trust, destroyed relationships, and a firm force to reassess who belongs in its inner circle. As the plot progresses, the question becomes not if Ridge will discover the truth, but how fully he will allow it to reshape the world of Forrester Creations. The answer, if recent trends continue, is that he will not hesitate to dismiss the man he once trusted the most, leaving Carter to face the career and personal exile that comes with a single irreparable encounter with Steffy. The New, the Bold, and the Beautiful spoilers foreshadow one of the most explosive Forrester family scandals in recent memory. Ridge Forrester may soon face a hard decision after learning that Carter Walton has crossed a key line with Steffy Forrester. If Ridge discovers that his trusted friend and lifelong business associate slept with his daughter, Carter's job at Forrester Creations might be jeopardized. This plotline is no longer a wild possibility. The shocking development has already occurred on screen. Steffy and Carter recently slept together following an extremely fraught night, and the timing couldn't have been worse. Steffy's husband, Finn Finnegan, was on his way home as Steffy and Carter dealt with the ramifications of their rash action. Now the topic is much larger than whether Steffy and Carter regret what occurred. The true issue is what happens when the truth is about to be revealed. Steffy has spent years establishing a dominant position inside Forrester Creations. She is no longer just Ridge's daughter. She is a key decision-maker within the corporation, a staunch defender of the Forrester name, and someone who has repeatedly demonstrated her willingness to make brutal decisions when her family's future is at stake. Her complicated relationship with Carter makes this new predicament even more volatile. Carter was formerly one of Ridge's most trusted pals. Their relationship has already withstood tremendous professional and personal pressure. Ridge was outraged when Carter turned against him during the power battle at Forrester Creations. Carter's plan to take over the company with Hope Logan was one of the most devastating betrayals Ridge had ever faced. Ridge's wrath at Carter after Carter assumed control of Forrester Creations was previously reported by Soap Opera Digest, demonstrating how profoundly their friendship had been strained. Ridge's reaction to the recent betrayal may be even more harsh given his history. Imagine Ridge discovering that Carter has not only failed him professionally in the past, but is now involved with Steffy. Ridge could interpret the incident as a personal attack on his family. Carter would no longer be just a former acquaintance who made a terrible business mistake. He would be the one who crossed the line with Ridge's daughter. And Ridge may not be willing to forgive him. The most significant complication is Steffy's marriage to Finn. Steffy and Finn have been through several crises, including threats on Sheila Carter, Hope's attraction to Finn, Luna's horrific crimes, and other emotional betrayals. Steffy has fought tirelessly to keep her marriage together, even when circumstances pushed her to the brink. As a result, the most recent mistake has the potential to destroy everything. Steffy and Carter did not appear to be approaching their encounter with a long-term strategy. Instead, the scenario arose at a vulnerable moment. Both people were in emotional agony, and one wrong decision had far-reaching ramifications for Los Angeles. The next morning, Steffy was appalled by what they had done. She recognized very immediately that they had crossed a line that could not be erased. Worse, Finn was attempting to reach her and was expected home. That puts Steffy in a terrible situation. Does she reveal everything to Finn? Does Carter keep quiet? Can they pretend that nothing happened? Will someone else learn the truth before either of them musters the fortitude to admit it? In the world of the bold and the beautiful, secrets are rarely kept hidden for long. The most exciting aspect of this plot is how Carter's relationship with Ridge may evolve if the truth is revealed. Ridge has previously proved that he can become incredibly emotional when someone harms those he cares about. His past is rife with violent confrontations, family feuds, and dramatic outbursts when he feels deceived. Carter understands this better than virtually anyone. He has been working closely with Ridge for several years. He understands how protective Ridge is of Steffy. He also realizes how seriously Ridge takes the Forrester surname. If Carter knows Ridge has found the truth, he may be unsure whether Ridge will confront him personally or instantly dismiss him from the company. That is where the prospect of Carter getting fired becomes particularly intriguing. Could Ridge really fire Carter? Absolutely. If Ridge believes Carter has damaged Steffy's marriage and humiliated the Forrester family, he may decide Carter is no longer welcome at Forrester Creations. The termination would involve more than just a commercial judgment. Ridge would be sending a message that betraying the family has serious consequences. But there's another chance. Ridge could blame both Steffy and Carter. Steffy is his daughter, but Ridge can also hold his children accountable. He has regularly argued with Steffy, believing she has made detrimental decisions. As a result, the aftermath could be far more complicated than a simple father versus Carter confrontation. Ridge may seek answers from both of them. Steffy may not be able to hide behind her role as Ridge's daughter. The scenario becomes much more perilous because Finn may eventually learn everything. Finn has already experienced enough emotional misery in his marriage. His connection with Steffy has endured situations that might have ended many other relationships. But cheating on Carter would be especially difficult because he is no stranger. He is intimately related to the Forrester family and Steffy's professional life. Finn might feel deceived by both of them. He might also wonder how long Steffy has been hiding her affections. Was this genuinely a catastrophic mistake? Or has something been happening between Steffy and Carter for longer than anyone realized? Those questions might haunt Finn. Steffy may explain that the experience had no significance and that she still loves her husband. However, Finn may not immediately believe her. When confidence is lost, even benign talks might turn suspicious. Carter's position would only make problems worse. If he continues to work at Forrester Creations, Steffy and Carter will have to see each other frequently. Every meeting could be uncomfortable. Every private chat could appear suspicious. Even if they promise Finn that nothing more will happen, the temptation and emotional effects may persist. This might cause a serious workplace issue. Ridge may so conclude that the simplest answer is to eliminate Carter entirely. There is also a more fundamental question of why Steffy resorted to Carter in the first place. Steffy has been under tremendous pressure. She has spent years defending her family, marriage, and Forrester Creations. Her confrontations with Hope have often forced her to make extreme decisions. In past stories, Steffy became determined to remove Hope from Forrester, even collaborating with Daphne Rose to separate Carter and Hope. According to Soap Opera Digest, Steffy enlisted Daphne to assist seduce Carter away from Hope as part of her effort to regain control of the company. That background complicates Carter and Steffy's most recent encounter. Their relationship has already been fraught with manipulation, business rivalry, and romantic tension. They have now crossed a line that may have long-term consequences. Could Steffy develop serious affections for Carter? This prospect could pose the greatest threat to her marriage.